for land under section 24.1. We had a land acknowledgement. We did two simple additions to the agenda for staff report to come earlier so we can kick people out faster, and to have action considered on item 14.5 Foothills Energy Co-op. Other than that, the agenda as presented was adopted, and we are on to motions arising from closed, which we have none. And we're at 5.1 minutes for May 3rd. Councillor Gordon, wink at me.
I can give you those.
That is there. Do I have any questions, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Those are adopted. 5.2, special meeting of council held May 9th, 2023. Veronica gives me that and says they're fantastic. Any concerns, errors, or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Question period is a 15-minute section of the council. Every meeting we have this for the public to ask questions of council or administration for just about anything under the sun. You can email, text, phone, grab us at AG Food, phone us, meet us at a meeting. However you want to talk to us, we'll take it.
Don't do the AG Food set.
Well, it happens, it happens. A Black Sheep Coffee, you'll find me there a few days later. Have we received any questions this week?
Mr. Mayor, we have not.
Not excellent. If the public did want to ask any, we would ask that you would submit the question in writing 10 minutes prior, just in case there's some administrative questions that we need to get in there to give you a good answer. But seeing none, we are moving on from question period. We'll look at that. Page 1, gone. Now, 7.1 statutory hearing for bylaw 23-19. So I get to read out this very exciting document, which is mandated by the MGA when we have a statutory hearing. So you'll have to bear with me. Open hearing. I hereby declare the public hearing for bylaw 2023-19 to amend bylaw 2021-06 open at 6:39 p.m. This public hearing is held pursuant to section 216.4 of the Municipal Government Act to hear representations from the public on proposed bylaw 2023-19. I'm Mayor Barry Crane and I'm the chairperson for today's hearing. Will council please introduce themselves, starting from my right, moving to my left. Mr. Gordon.
Yeah, I'm Councillor Jonathan Gordon. Thank you.
Veronica Flavor. Cindy Holiday.
Brendan Kelly.
Okay, Thompson.
And will administration please introduce themselves, starting with CAO, moving with us.
Corey Middleton. From Sables.
Clinical Volunteer Services.
Rob Ross, Planning and Development Manager.
Denise Stewart, Development.
Thank you. All discussions by council members, administration, and speakers shall be directed through me as a presiding officer. During the public hearing, we ask that you respect the views of everyone here and allow each person their time to speak without interruption. Each person wishing to speak will be given up to 5 minutes to make a presentation to council. I ask that you indicate if you are speaking on your own behalf, on behalf of another person, or a group of persons, or an organization. When you are finished speaking, please remain at the front, as council may wish to ask you some questions. This hearing will be carried out in an orderly fashion in accordance with normal parliamentary procedures. So, at that point, we would like to ask Ms. Middleton, can you please confirm whether the public hearing has been advertised and notice given in accordance with the MGA in the time appropriate?
I can confirm, Mayor, that it has indeed been followed for the regulations.
Thank you. Ms. Denise, would you please present your staff report?
I won't use the desk, we'll just use the mapping that's been provided, okay?
Okay.
Just because we got all your USPs, use that.
Who's in the budget?
Pardon me?
They're in the budget.
Yeah. Pardon me? At the back, the next one will be a mapping. And then I'm not gonna reread my report to you all because you had it. and then I'll just touch on the points as we show them on the maps. So this redesignation application is made to redistrict 1,100 square meter parcel at 415 4/8th Street from direct control district. So it's a little parcel there, blue dot. From direct control district to central business district to facilitate the development of 557 square meter mixed use commercial residential building. Commercial units will be on the first floor with 8 to 10 residential units on the about on the second floor. In 2005, this parcel had been zoned R3 for residential development but it got rezoned in 2005 to direct control 6 for a 33 unit apartment building. Development permit was issued for that in 2007, but that application did not proceed, and the that permit was formally removed or canceled in 2012. The purpose of the central business district is, as stated in the land use bylaw, is to provide for designation and regulation of certain land uses which are intended to serve pedestrian traffic. The district is being applied to property which is best suited for accommodating the needs of visiting public without inappropriate impacts upon daily functioning of the community or inappropriate impacts to adjacent properties. If you could go to the next slide, please. So this slide shows the parcel in orange. And Vale Park, you can see it's just under development. It's on the west boundary of the parcel. And then we've got Willowbridge Park on the north boundary of the parcel. Sorry. Okay. The municipal development plan encourages mixed-use development in the downtown. Municipal development plan also asks for immediate small-scale development to be channeled into the existing central business district by renewing or revitalizing existing commercial parcels. And when those commercial properties are filled up, there isn't any vacancies, they're encouraged to expand the central business district onto lots that are vacant in the nearby area, so that the central business district can remain the civic part of the community. Next slide, please. Okay, this map shows the land use districts. So the subject parcel is direct control. It should be, typically it would be gray, but just to identify it as the subject parcel. We've shown it in orange here today. The lots to the east that are in gray on First and Second Avenue are zoned direct control 1 for residential development. Where you see the shopping center, that's zoned direct control 10. However, within the bylaw, they allow, it's for commercial uses, but they allow the municipal planning commission and the NCC or the development officer to be the planning authority there. The horizontal lines, that's fast gas, it's zoned general business. And then again, the lands to the west and to the north are public service lands. They are currently being used as park lands. Next slide, please. Okay, again, this is an aerial view. I'm just going to touch on the infrastructure here. So we have water and sewer are under First Avenue Northwest and under 4A. In consultation with Alberta Transportation, they felt that under their TIA, that the area was adequate for the intended use for central business district. There is Storm, that's just along the east, that goes into storm drain, which is the pathway that leads onto Second Avenue. And also that storm drain gets directed out to the Sheep River. Next slide, please. This is a proposal. This is the site plan that's proposed. It's been updated since this was initially circulated. We have relocated, or the applicant has relocated the parking along the west property line. And taken the parking away from from in front of the stores, from in front of the retail units. Dressed up the front. Unfortunately, I had provided a revised map on my disc, but I wasn't able to plug it in here tonight. But regardless, there is going to be proposed parking, and all of these details will be fleshed out at the development stage. Development permit stage, should this zoning occur. Next slide, please. That's just gives you a little clearer. We can roll by again then. Okay. All right, so this one shows a closer ortho photo. It does show that there's some encroachment of the U-Haul vehicles into the subject parcel. Next slide. Okay, now this is the elevations. So in 2012, so not 2012, in 1992, the burn, it shows that the burn is outside of the flood fringe, and most of the lot is in the flood fringe. The new flood mapping also reflects this burn. There was some infill that was brought into the parcel. And so that in the draft flood mapping has not been adopted by the province, but that raised area is outside of the flood fringe or identified as protected by the burn. The easterly portion remains within the flood fringe. So our land use bylaw requires that all development within the flood fringe be flood protected. So it's be required to be half a meter above the flood elevation. And that has been addressed in the draft site plan for that. Just because we've got this one up, I'll just talk a little bit about accesses. This is one of the concerns raised by adjacent property owners, that there isn't any street, there isn't pedestrian access to this development. The applicant has proposed a 2.4 meter sidewalk within his property line, so there really isn't any curb or boulevard available. But anyway, that would be along the east and but directly adjacent to the roads, I should say, and 2.4 meters wide. So it's a little bit wider than what would be required of a municipal standard sidewalk. And it would connect to the only existing pathway, which is the pathway that goes on to Second Avenue there that you see on the west side. There is some ability for sidewalk to go in on the 4th Street, like on the east side of 4/8th Street. There's a bit of boulevard there. It's I don't have a survey of it, but it's probably 2.5 to 3 meters wide. Should the council decide to provide pedestrian sidewalk at that location. One of the other concerns addressed by the area resident is that there is visibility is impeded by the vegetation at that corner. So that would be addressed at development permit stage as well. Should that be necessary? Just want to see if that. To touch still on the concerns of the adjacent property owners, some of the concerns was decrease in property value, increase in traffic, increase in parking. Speed control, this is a from the south property line. And then on 4A Avenue, that's where the playground zone starts, and then it's quite a ways down playground zone on First Avenue. So there's some traffic measures in place to reduce that speed to 30 kilometers an hour. Some of the other concerns is the location within the flood fringe, the flood restrictions that would be required, and the commercial use in primarily a residential district. I think that summarizes the concerns that were brought forward. And it's just going to take a minute. See that I've addressed all of the key elements that I intended to. I did talk a little bit about the municipal development plan, and there's quite an extensive summary in your package on how this application fits within the municipal development plan. And those speak to integrating central business district into adjacent infills. It talks about maintaining and revitalizing the downtown core. It talks about redeveloping lots that can take advantage of existing infrastructure, where we've got some existing infrastructure under the road there. This application was circulated to adjacent property owners, 29 adjacent property owners on the 10th of January. It was circulated to agencies on the 16th of January. And dates, I don't know dates. It was advertised on the website, or posted on the website on the 21st of April, and then it was in the May 10th and May 3rd and May 10th issues of the Western Wheel. Land use bylaw amendment 2023-19 was given first reading on the 19th of April. And if council has any questions for me with respect to this application, I'd be happy to answer them this time.
Thank you. And with that being said, council, you may follow up with questions of Mr. now if you wish. Ms.
Questions and comments. Thanks, Denise. So this is based basically on the old flood mapping, not the current flood mapping that's hasn't been approved yet. Correct?
That's correct.
And in the current flood mapping, not the old one, this would be floodplain or flood fringe.
Okay, so that's a good question. I'm sorry I wasn't clearer. In 1992, this land is in the flood fringe with the exception of the burn. We have to use that in our presentation because that is what we've endorsed, what council has endorsed. When we look at the floods.alberta.ca site, on this elevation map, that higher elevation at 1174 is showing that it's protected by the burn. The balance of the property is still within the flood fringe.
Okay. Further to that, and maybe Rod and perhaps yourself can clarify. Is this the same berm that needs to be heightened?
So I know that there's conversation happening about increasing the flood berm. but I'm not privy to what those conversations have been with engineering to answer that.
Thank you. My concern is stormwater management, because I used to live down in that area and I saw that area flood in 1995. Pretty good. And in 2005 and of course in 2013. And a lot of the flooding came down. Overland flooding came down and went down that pathway at Second and flooded all those homes. And so that's a huge concern with, it's just not a great area. Like if I was a developer, I wouldn't be putting anything there. It would be too scary. Your insurance would be out of this world. So that is, I saw that water running down that pathway and our crews out there trying to help. So, and the elevation map, that elevation map doesn't really tell me much of anything. Yeah, anyway. I do like that it's mixed use. I just I'm not supportive, but really of it being here, due to the flood management or the flood, mapping and, not the current, because we're not using the current and we don't know about that berm. And the storm management, I real have issues, like, but we've seen the DQ is sitting way up high, for storm management and, this is quite a bit more substantial of a development, so, I would likely not support this.
Any further questions?
No.
Thank you. Brendan? For staff on this.
No, I sit on the MPC and,
I should clarify, this isn't for debate. It's gonna come later for debate. So
the comments.
hold your comments. You're just looking for questions.
No,
Comments are gonna be at 8.9.1.
Sorry.
I'm good.
Okay,
Mayor,
good. Councilor,
No, I haven't.
Councilor Holden? Okay, thank you for your report. Applicant presentation. Is the applicant here? I believe he is. Yes, sir. There you go. You can come up here and have a seat if you like. And you have 15-20 minutes to make a presentation if you wish. Well, listen as long as you want to talk. The floor is yours, and afterward, please remain there and we may have questions for you. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Honorable Chairman, council members, and the officer of the town office and my community people. So I don't think that I need any introduction here. Everybody knows me personally. I'm here for 10 years. Now, since 2013, just before the flood came in here in this area, I opened a liquor store named Eco. Since then, I'm trying my best to serve this community at the level of my best. So I have succeeded it. I'm thankful for the committee. They have always wholeheartedly supported me. And I'm thankful to the town office. I'm thankful to the council also. They always supported us wholeheartedly. And they made us to this level that we would be able to buy that piece of land. Now we want to develop. So I know that the flood-free area is a little bit risky, but there are certain requirements of the Environment Canada. We will meet all those requirements, whatever the town community need, the walkway, whatever, we will meet those requirements also. So I'm here for support from the public, from the council, from the office. That's it.
Nice.
Whatever you want me to do, I'm ready to do with you. I'm with the community, I'm for the community. I'm always, most of the time, I live in the community. I go to home only for 2 hours, 3 hours, just to sleep. I come in the morning, whatever. So whatever we will do according to the community requirements. So whatever they want there as a commercial, housing is a dire need, I know that. So nobody can say no to the housing. But only concern is flood fringe, right? For that, Environment Canada has already laid down the rules and regulations. I don't know what are those, but office knows better. Whatever they tell us, we will do that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions? Got it? Cindy, go ahead.
Yeah, just so I have the idea of the timeline, when did you buy the land?
We bought this land a couple of years ago in 2022, I think. 2022 June, yeah. Not only this, we bought another piece of land here behind Second Street. We will develop that also. That's a commercial and the residential. Both we are developing 3 like a residential on top and 3 commercial units at the bottom. So we are trying to bring investments. So when we need investments, certain things we need the help of the council also, right? So we beg the help. So I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to comment anyone. Whatever you guys say, it will be suited from our side. Thank you.
Councilor Gordon.
I love your straightforwardness. I appreciate
It's
it.
just the-
Simple question I have for you. It currently is direct control, which means council gets to have the oversight directly on that. Is it your request for it to be moved from direct control to central business, or do you have a preference one way or the other?
Not at all, sir. Whatever will be easy for us to approach and to get solutions, that will be good for us. What will be the easy? We want to have any proposal or change or something like that. Whatever the way is easy, that is best for us. That's it.
Thank you.
Heather?
No, good.
Yeah, I can't think, I don't have any questions. I got a comment.
comment.
Yep.
Comment.
Well, we'll have
Comments at 8, okay.
Yeah, okay, we'll save comments. Yeah, I have no direct questions. I've always had concerns, but I don't have any direct questions that aren't being answered, so. All right. Thank you. You're released. You can move back over and see as well. That was quick. All right, thank you. All right, written submissions. Ms. Middleton, has the town received any written submissions not included in your staff report? In other words, did you get any new ones since the last ones? And if so, I would ask that you read those aloud and have them entered into our record. Did we receive it?
No, Mr. Mayor, we have not.
Okay. So we did receive 3, I believe it is, Vernon, that are in the agenda package. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's 32.
Yeah, I've got Joe and Louise and Delilah. Oh, great. Okay, thank you. So those are already part of the record. Yeah. Okay. At this time of the hearing, I will call upon anyone wishing to speak on the proposed bylaw. Please note that each party wishing to speak will have an opportunity to do so. If you are speaking and have not, or, oh, no, see, here we go. If you're speaking and have already provided a written submission, please summarize your concerns. Council members may ask the presenter questions for the purpose of clarifying the speaker's comments. Council will not debate this matter during this hearing, and the decision regarding whether the grant bylaw for the readings will be dealt with later in the agenda, as I mentioned before, or a subsequent meeting if deemed necessary. At this time, I would ask administration if anyone has registered to sign in to speak to the bylaw. Seeing none, working through the list, make sure, fine. Calling for speakers. At this time, I would ask if anyone present who has not yet spoken would like to speak to the bylaw. Please come forward, state your name for the record. This would be an opportunity for anyone over here now who wants to stand here and either summarize your letter and or just speak to the bylaw that you're hearing today, for or against, is totally fine. Yeah, go ahead, just stand here.
Stand wherever you need me.
There you go.
There we go.
State your name. Just your name and wait.
Bryce Leckman. I live on 421 First Avenue. Few concerns with the development. My main concern is the safety of my own children. So you have shared that, yeah, that road is 30 kilometers an hour. If any one of you spends any time down there, before, after school, not one solitary person drives 30 down that road. That road is traveled at 50, 60. What happens is people come out of fast gas and they want to get through town quick. They rip around that corner. It's a blind corner. We have no sidewalks. My kids are playing. I've got 11, 9, 7, and 4. It's just, you increase that traffic. It is a massive concern for me, for my wife, and I know others have also shared that concern as well. So whatever we can do to change that, definitely not against the development, but it's gotta be done in the right way. It's gotta be done for the protection of my kids. And then you put a daycare in there or whatever else that you're thinking, it's just gonna increase that all the more. And so that's for me and my wife and my kids, that is our biggest concern right now, is the safety of our kids. As well as, you know, you got lights and we already got a lot of sound coming from AG Foods. It's gonna add just that ambient noise and kind of lots of those types of things. And so that's one of our major concerns with my kids and just additional ambient noise on top of what I know that Joe has shared, articulated well in his letter. We fully support that letter as well. So I just wanted to share that here at this council. So
Excellent.
thank you.
Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate you standing. Bryce, I will have a question coming to you. If
Yes, sir.
You can, Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Bryce. Appreciate your concerns, well spoken. I also appreciate the fact that you mentioned that you're not against the development. So that leads me to this question. Concerning the concerns you shared, the safety for your kids, the ambient noise, what would be a solution that you could see viable?
There's a few things that I've thought of and bounced around with my wife. If we could potentially make our road or the end of First Avenue into a full-on cul-de-sac so that there's no through traffic at all. If that would be possible, I don't know bylaws and when it comes to highways and stuff like that, but that would be great. Or even if there was right at the farthest west point, if at the very least, if you wanted to put up like those blocks or whatever that stops through traffic unless parade day, I know that they like to use that road, stuff like that. I understand that. Any way to block off that First Ave to not have that traffic ripping through there would be really good. You can't do much about the ambient noise. The building is going to do that anyway. Putting up trees right along, especially along that road, putting up some trees or whatever, just to maybe block some form of sound and block some light that's going to naturally come from a parking lot or whatever. But anyway, if we could turn that into a cul-de-sac, just cut that off, that would be ideal. But understanding Highway Alberta or whatever we would decide.
Yes, all road.
So.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Great comments. Any follow-up from council for Bryce? No? Okay, thank you.
Awesome, appreciate it. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Bryce. All right. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak for or against bylaw 2019 or 23-3-19? Mr. Joe Clary.
Sir, I'm Joe Clary. I live very adjacent to this property. I wrote a letter for the deadline, February 10th, with my concerns. I say to stormwater management, there is none. It runs beside my house. You're about to pave a large portion of that grass. And I'm just not understanding where that's supposed to go, because in the basement's not an option. I don't know if you guys understand how the flood worked in 2013, but that burn you're talking about in that raised portion of land was all underwater, and the water came from the south. It breached at the campground and it came across the highway at the fast gas and ran right through my front door. So that berm is not going to protect anybody. It's not going to protect a business. I was told by the fire department to leave my house when the water was here. So if a daycare is a business that they want to put in there, I would say that that's a bad idea. Because now you're responsible for somebody else's kids. I agree with Bryce. The street should be turned off. I seen the traffic study. I don't agree with it. They don't live down there. And I've been there for 10 years now, and I can agree that people don't obey the 30-kilometer speed limit. We tried to get speed bumps. Neighbors have got the signs made bigger, but it didn't change anything, right? So we're still dealing with that issue. As far as the development, I'm not against it either. I spoke with Cap about this before. But what I'm tired of is irresponsible development where things are done like the Dairy Queen, where we just pull the trigger and we do things and then we're reactive and we have to spend money to try and make it right. I feel like we get ahead in front of this. So I seen you redid the site plan, remove the parking stalls from the west side, which would make the most sense. There's no houses over there. And now they're on the east side. There's 15 parking stalls, all pointed directly at my property. And with the 1992 flood map you're going to use, you have to build that up half a meter, so 1.2 meters. Those cars are going to be higher than the fence I have on the side of my property. So there's real concern with that. There's no boulevard, there's no trees. Light pollution. I can see the stars on my deck right now, and I won't 50 minutes of this. I already have to deal with the bus stop we put in. I'm not sure how that works with the Dark Sky Preserve. We are part of that, being south of the observatory. So there's considerations for all those things. And yeah, I'm probably the most affected property owner, value wise. I've got a lot at stake here. So that's the reason why I wrote my letter and why I'm standing here right now, because yeah, I have most to lose.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Easy one for me. I'm just gonna ask the same thing that Councillor Gordon did. Solution for you, Joe Cleary. What,
Yeah, well,
what would you see?
if you've been down there, you can see the evergreen trees that are between the park and Caps Lot. They're substantial. They don't lose their foliage in the fall. So it would have to be done in a way that I don't have to look at headlights, because the businesses are 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, that's fine. But if you put residential on top, now we're talking all hours of the night. People work shift work or whatever, they're driving in, they park their car. I just think, you know, like you said, let's do this right. We get one shot at this, so, you know, direct control for me makes the most sense. I had to deal with it with my coffee business, get support of my neighbors. I had to come to the council. I had to speak my case. We had to vote on this and we move forward. With the central business, I mean, I guess I'd spoken with a few of you about caveats or something. I just want to make sure that my concerns are heard. Because if we go to central business, then I don't have any avenues to fight this.
Thanks, Joe.
Excellent, thank you. I got a good note that I'm going to speak to later on that. In speaking to solutions again, do you think a fence along that side just to mitigate some of that light?
Well, so we're talking 1.2 meters and then you're gonna build a 6-foot fence, so I've got to look at a 12-foot wall of the kitchen window. That's what I was asking. Yeah, if you know where I live, I look at my kitchen window, and I understand it's been zoned for residential for 20 years or whatever, and like I guess I grew accustomed to little, just green space. It's really nice.
Thank you, trees it is.
Yeah, so a 12-foot wall, the fence and the build up, yeah, that worries me, because, and the build up alone worries me, because I see how much water runs down there. Because the whole northwest part of town has no underground stormwater management. The stormwater management is that outfall to the river behind our houses there. And yeah, in 2005, I think it acted up, it flooded Second Ave, 13, it didn't matter, water was, yeah, we were stopping, no. So, it's a real concern, I bet that I don't, because I see those heavy rainfalls in the summertime. And you look out your window and it's like 3 inches up my fence and right to the other side. You know, it would spill into that property right now. But if we're gonna build that up 1.2 meters, we don't have that option.
Straight down. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything further from council? Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you. Excellent. I will ask again, at this time, is there anyone who would like to speak for or against bylaw 2023-19? Is that? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Jessica.
Hi, Jessica Harkle Fleming. I think most of you know me. We live at 401 2nd Avenue, so the opposite end, kitty corner to Joe. Been there for 5 years. Our kids are 9 and 12, or we have cats that roam when it's allowed or not. We have dogs. But so that whole area from the park, the pathway, for us to access the Friendship Trail, we use that property up and down this road on a daily basis. When we spoke about the traffic that rips through there, nobody goes 30. No one's looking. They come out of the fast gas, they rip down that road. They use it as a cross through. So we talked about solutions when I had talked to Joe earlier, the idea of having that be either a traffic quieter or a traffic endpoint. Other big concern around stormwater, again, 5 years, that pathway flows right into the end of our cul-de-sac on 2nd Avenue, and multiple times throughout the year, it's either flooded full of water or it's frozen, and then it's flooded, and the stormwater drains on 2nd Ave are not pulling enough water out of it, so it starts to flow, and that's just a regular afternoon in the spring or the fall. So I think that's a major concern, because if that's now pavement, where is that water flow going to go? And that's right now, it's all grass. So think of all the water that's being absorbed into the ground right now, that's going to no longer be. So those are my 2 major concerns: traffic, quieting up traffic, daycare. You're going to have people, parents, and I've been there, drop off, pick up. It's increasing traffic volume. Again, I'm very supportive of CAP. I'm supportive of the development in concept. I know that we need
affordable residential housing. We need more commercial space. I'm on the Economic Development Council. I'm very much for economic development if it's done intentionally with sustainability in mind. I just think there needs to be some mitigations that are considered before this is
You, council, any questions for Ms. Jessica? You're clear.
Thank you.
Thank you for speaking. Last call for submissions. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or against bylaw 2023-19 amendment? For or against? Going once? Going twice? Sold to the smallest bidder. We will then go to last call for submissions from administration. Are we sure? We have not received any written submissions that have not been read.
Mr. Mayor, we are sure we no more submissions.
All right. And have all speakers been heard? Last chance. Second thoughts, now's your time. Close. Does any person who has previously spoken wish to address any new information provided at this hearing? Council may for follow-up questions. Yeah, I can give you a third chance. Because these papers are great, I'll tell you. All right, and does the applicant wish to have any closing remarks, or would you like to ask any questions of council? Addressing any of the concerns you heard from the public? Okay, thank you. Does administration have any closing remarks or responses to questions or concerns that were brought forward during the hearing?
I do not. I think they were covered in the development officer report that was submitted to council.
Okay, excellent. Council, are you satisfied that you have obtained sufficient information from this public hearing? If you do not, voice your concern. Seeing none, then I officially would like to thank everyone who presented today and spoke, and for the applicant for his application, and for administration for their duties. And I will close this public hearing for bylaw 2023-19 at, let's go digital, 7:19. All right, thank you. And as I said, this will be spoken to in just a few moments on the agenda. So we are moving on. Delegations, let's go. Skate park opening. Jessica and Colin.
What?
You like that? That was quick, eh?
Yeah, that's a, what a tough thing, your good news.
Right? Yeah. We'll be speaking to it shortly. All righty.
I made some notes.
She likes to talk.
All right, welcome, and thank you for all your work on Skate Park, first of all, and thank you for being here. So, Laura,
Thank you.
a skate park, skate park,
Skate park.
that's
great
just
park.
default.
So I think that we wanted to come today and really talk about a little bit of the backstory for those that might not have the detail. Talk about what's been done and how this is a really, amazing accomplishment for the community that is being brought together. And then I'm going to pass over to Colin to get into some of the details of what our idea is to do a bit more organized event. So we've taken the initiative to put a grand opening together for the skate park and really come to the town to ask what we can do together. So over the last, I'd say 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, we've been working with the town on a bit of an event plan, a detailed work back, communication strategy, all starting with the big idea of an event and then bringing it to life. So we're super excited about this addition to the community as part of a recreational offering for the entire Cowdown Valley. So 2 years ago, we started by engaging with the community and then engaging with community-driven organizations 4 years ago. And we've essentially worked together with the community to raise nearly $200,000 in funding, combination of cash, grant money, donations, et cetera. That really is a testament to how we've been able to really get everybody engaged in the big picture and the dream. This is now a recreational opportunity that's going to be available both for the youth of our community and the old dudes that still like to skate. And then also any visitors that might come through town for a day or longer term visitation. So with that said, our intention is to celebrate this incredible sense of community and use this event to help share stories of how Diamond Valley is a recreation-centric community and why this is a place that you need to be caring about, sharing, and coming down to visit. So I'm gonna pass over to Colin to talk a little bit about the backstory, the event framework, and then talk about the event that we've got on the books, with the intention of attending to move forward on the 24th of June.
Okay, the backstory kind of comes to where we hope that we can name the park Kendrick Memorial State Park. Chad Kendrick was a very close friend of mine and encouraged me to move my family up to to Black Diamond. Because he figured that this was an opportunity for anybody to move and be part of a community and build something better, dream the quality of dream. And he really pushed for us to move out here. And during the time I was having a beer or two with him, and we talked about how great it would be to build a skate park and a live music venue. And we built this big dream that we, slowly started to come to something. But he really encouraged me to come out here and do something. And when he was diagnosed with ALS, kicked me in the gut. And I just kind of thought, what can I do for the community to represent what Chad wanted in this area as well? So we came up with a fundraiser idea and was blown away about how well the community received it, and everybody from bottles to cash, you name it. People that probably hate skaters have even contributed to this thing. It blows me away when I look back on how many people got involved and how much work went into it. So I would like to be able to call it the Kendrick Memorial Skate Park for those reasons. And we want to have this party because we want to celebrate everybody that was involved. So we don't want to make it a skateboard party only. We want to have live music, food, DJs, a party, a day party, and then finish it off with a skateboard competition that evening, and hopefully carry on with an annual skate park, skateboard competition year over year, and keep the vibe alive, and maybe more later.
So part of the formalized event is we're looking to kick off with the ribbon cutting and a naming ceremony. And then also bring in, whether it's a member of the Tutina Nation or from Estoni with Eden Valley to come out and do a blessing. We've engaged with a number of different organizations, both Indigenous led and non-Indigenous led, to try to bring together the youth for this event. But also I think just recognizing that with the new, with summer games coming, there's a lot of spotlight being shone on this destination. And I think being able to use this as a bit of a pivot point to share the stories of the greater recreation story of the community, and also kick off and build a bit of awareness around the upcoming summer games, and really the larger recreational story of community. So a number of different points, but I think we're really looking for council approval on both the naming concept. And for those of you that may not know the Kendrick family, Aaron owns the Westwood. So Chad and Aaron have started Treeline Outdoors, which has been a big supporter in Turner Valley for a bunch of years. And that was what initially, again, brought us out here to the area. So looking for approval on the naming and also approval in concept for the event and your blessing. And then the last piece is we do have the Lions engaged to run the food and beverage. We've already engaged with musical acts to come down. We've been working with the town on everything from security to waste management to venue, profiling, everything around it. It's all been put onto paper, communications and marketing, etc. So just looking for the blessing and whatever else might be needed to get it over the finish line.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Gordon.
Excellent presentation. I love the emotion.
Sorry to cry.
No, don't cry.
Please do.
No problem. Seriously, I love the emotion
Let's
and
shot.
I love the care for the Kendrick family. That's awesome. Quick question I have before we, obviously I'd love to make motions, but I do have a question regarding the timing. Just to make sure, because I know the sod has to be laid and there's some work in that area that has to be done. How are we doing for that from that work being done?
Originally, this was slotted for June 10th, and the pin was pulled just for those specific reasons to get that grass up and running as well.
Right on.
And then as far as timing and consideration of the neighbors and stuff like that, we did kind of think of the party being kind of noon till 6 p.m. so that it, with punk bands and stuff like that, it's going to be loud. But at least we can be finished by dinner time so people can go for a hike or enjoy the west or whatever they want to.
Maybe the mountain bike trail if it's done.
Exactly. Go do something if they don't want to be part of the racket, but close that down at 6 PM and then let the kids celebrate by having the skate park competition kind of 6 to 9 PM.
Awesome.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, so echo Councillor Gordon's comments as well. Like, thank you to both of you. The contributions that you've made to our community. I'm at a loss for words, especially with you, Colin. I know how much you've done. I had my door knocked on a lot of times for the amount of bottle drives you did, and quickly guzzled back a few so that I could donate again, which was great.
It is hard.
It was just, it was Diet Coke for sure, but regardless of that, I really just wanted to, when I got the email this afternoon about the name, I had been thinking about, nominating you because of your contributions, your family's contributions to the site. And when I read through the email that I got this afternoon, I got a little emotional because of how selfless you've been throughout this whole process. And it really speaks to your character. And I know that Chad would be really happy. And I'm sure wish he was sitting next to you during this, but thank you for everything. And I too support it and can't wait to be there.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Hold it together.
Ditto. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
I go down there quite a bit with my grandkids. That park is a huge hit. Kudos just on that. It's got the kids outside. I see kids on skateboards. I see kids on scooters. I see kids trying to take their bikes down it, which really looks scary to me, but it's loaded every time I go down there. It's just a wonderful, wonderful addition to our community. And I support the naming in memory of Chad. And yeah, so I'm thrilled to see this going forward and the celebration going forward.
I do want to share, we did talk to Erin. We wanted to make sure that we had her blessing before because you never know how private or public. And so we had actually had that conversation a while back and she also.
Also wasn't sure if I'd get away with naming it's Chad or Kendrick Memorial, so I did put his initial CK in the cement. So a lot of people were asking if my last name was started with a K in the middle. The GK in there, and I don't know why.
Okay. Council, I'm going to take a motion
I'll give you the first one.
for the Kendrick Memorial Skate Park.
I'll give you the first one that we indeed we went ahead and named it the Kendrick Memorial Park. Did you want it Kendrick Memorial Skate Park or just Kendrick Memorial Park?
Could expand.
Well, I guess maybe that's maybe a question to talk with admin as well, because we've been working closely with Minnick and Les with the expansion of the larger pump track as well.
Yeah.
I know there's been talk of doing a larger naming, but I think for our purposes, it was really around the skate park, the more important part. I think if it could be larger, I don't know, what do you think? I think it's incredible, but push it, Charlotte.
I like the idea of just a skate park only because it really identifies
Yeah.
what you've invested, what Chad invested on behalf of the community. That's just my first thought.
Yeah.
So let's put the Memorial Skate Park, Kendrick Memorial Skate Park.
Comments, Cindy?
Yeah, I was just gonna add, in late 2020, I believe Chad's brother Troy contacted me looking for a naming opportunity. I felt terrible because all we had was like parks or benches and trees, and that was, I'm like, we don't have anything we're doing, but super excited to see this persistence into this to come out.
And Troy and Steve are aware, so we're hoping to have them all down with River and any other extended family to come down and celebrate.
Yeah, so this is way better than Venture Tree. So
Absolutely.
I think there's full support here, so I'm not going to waste any more time. All in favor? And I'll give the motion that we endorse the June 24th event as proposed.
Thanks so much, guys.
All in favor? There you go. Thank you for your passion, your dedication and volunteers.
And just one follow-up.
Sure.
I have been over there in a while. Is there any way we can get the etching done on one of the rails that says Fleming Chump? No, I'm being serious.
I need an airbrusher.
The amount of time that you've invested and the work that you've done, I understand and I really appreciate your compassion for for Chad. But I would like some way, shape or form that your work is not lost. That's a legacy.
I'd rather not. I'd rather, you know, I do have my business logo as a sponsor. We did raise $2,500 through selling used bikes for the skate park.
Yeah.
And so we are a sponsor of it.
Okay.
And I'm happy with that as a business.
No, it's
But as a personal thing, this was personal. And I don't need any recognition that I thank you for.
Good man.
appreciate
We are working on a plaque, so between Les and Nick. So Paul may or may not be aware of what the final sign off on.
it. Okay, good.
You didn't do that, Colin.
But no, we're so working with Les on doing a plaque and part of this grand opening is to just unveil the naming, but also to have that plaque. It's gonna recognize all the major donors. I think it was what was the minimum threshold, $1,500 or more? They got on the name on the phone. Their name.
Oh, they said that they would do up to 2,500 for the cost of the park.
No, but the names that we put on the plaque,
Oh, yeah, it was $1,000 to get your name on it, $5,000 got you a logo.
the logo. So we've got all of the
Awesome.
key sponsors are outlined there.
Yeah.
I'm working with Minnick and Les on finalizing. that.
Lions, Crescent Point would have been more than everybody else, so they'll get more recognition.
That's awesome.
Both those.
Yeah, because I think it just serves as legacy for the value of the community coming together to raise funds for something that's the value of the community. And what a small town can do, phenomenal.
Excellent.
Hopefully you can all mark your calendar, save the date.
So
We'll
We'll be there.
It'll be calendar. All right, thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah. Talk and cook. There you go. Okay. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we've moved the CAO and staff reports up into 8.2 so that we can finish those off and hopefully send some people home so they don't have to stay here for the whole night. So, Ms. Middleton, I will hand it over to you. That's actually summer games report is the lead off of that. And then if you want to add in anything, you can do that. So.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna ask, Ms. LeBlanc, she's gonna talk about the Alberta Summer Games report. Our CAO and staff report, the remainder are gonna go to committee of the whole as recommended.
Thanks for you.
But due to some pertinent information, I'll leave it to Ms. LeBlanc to go over her report.
All right. Or is yours, Lynette?
Great that I don't have a copy of it, but it's there. Thank you for the opportunity. And I want to say it's been an honor working with the Flemings on this particular project. They're amazing. With regard to the Alberta Summer Games, what I wanted to do was provide you with some sort of schedule in terms of the opportunities that you have to both attend and participate as council. This will be fine-tuned the closer we get to the event with, locations and some details, talking points, all of the above. But with regard to the kickoff, if you will, we start with the youth project or the youth mural. Thank you very much. You're welcome. That's great. So the Flemings talked a little bit about the reason that the event was pushed forward to June 24th, and that was because of the landscaping and additional work that had to be done on the skate park and also in the area. I believe that Craig Beaton at the last council meeting had outlined also that we really want this to be showcased. And to do so, it's going to take a little bit of time. But all of these events preceding the actual launch of the games will allow us to test drive it a little bit as well. So the youth mural, Les Clinton is currently working with local artists. Trying to identify exactly who that will be. We don't know just yet. To be able to guide the students to developing a mural that will be attached and or painted on the building at 606 at the park, where the washrooms are, the public washrooms. And in the meantime, we will also see that, so there's a contest at the moment for the design. So that's going out to the schools and those will be judged, prizes will be awarded. And I believe it's a community council that will be making that selection. You'll get a lot more detail when we get closer to that. And then that will be awarded and identified as such. Some other items that are leading up to that was we're proposing and we're just waiting for confirmation on a Stampeder alumni baseball game, which would involve council and youth, local youth and Boys and Girls Club. And they would do that as both a fundraiser and really just to create awareness. So we're hoping that that gets confirmed fairly soon and it's proposed for June 17th. On June 21st, the Okotoks Black Diamond Committee of the Summer Games, and I say Black Diamond because that's what they've had to go with in terms of their corporate identity when it was initially awarded, is doing a art project reveal, and that is the main design that was selected for the games themselves. This council will receive a copy of that with an inscription that basically will be hung, we hope, in council chambers somewhere appropriate for public viewing. And the committee will be here on the 21st to present that. Beyond that, we also have, as we just mentioned, the 24th, the skateboard park opening. From everything that we've had to discuss and plan today, it really looks like it's going to be a great fun event, and we can anticipate that it will also help showcase and create awareness for the summer games. So we're anticipating between 500 and 800 people attending. Again, there would be some presentations. We expect probably around 2 o'clock, but those details will be provided to council soon. By late June, we hope that the mountain bike track is going to be completed. There's still a little bit left to do, but the majority of it, thank you again to all the volunteers who have continuously come out every time that we have called out for help to be able to have it clear. And we had a great turnout the last couple of times, I think amounted to over 30 people. So we greatly appreciate all of that. The torch kickoff will be on the 19th. So the date should be July, I apologize, it should be July 19th. And the torch bearers will make their way from the oil fields arena down 3rd and then towards the municipal office and in front of the Black Diamond. So those will be photo ops for that particular segment of that event. And then of course, there's the grand opening and the evening events will do the opening ceremony. Mayor and council will be certainly invited to attend. Those invitations are coming directly from the Alberta Summer Games Committee, and you should see those shortly. And then finally, the competition starts in earnest and then winds up with the closing ceremonies on the 23rd. So there's a lot going on. We'll be trying to create as much awareness as possible and involving them into events that lead up to that, such as parade day. So floating parade, booth offering for the Diamond Valley Day portion of it that will be occurring on the west side. So I'm certainly happy to answer any questions if you have any, but just to assure you that there will be more details coming.
Councillor Gordon.
Just really quickly, how many more volunteers are you need of? Are we aware of that number yet?
Typically, they had been up to, last I heard it's about 50%. So they also said though that quite a few people sign up after they've made their holiday funds. So they're just waiting for that.
Right.
Any further questions?
Just
No,
comment for you,
I
but-
think that we just gotta keep moving. It's coming up fast.
Too much.
What's your comment?
In the event that you need anyone to attend anything, because there's a lot of
Oh,
mayor.
There's a few,
Could you
yeah.
please give maybe your deputy mayor a heads up?
Oh,
That'd be all
yeah.
I
A little
ask.
bit of notice?
Just not an
So not the day before.
Yeah.
By the way, no,
Any chance you
there's
could?
a lot of things, Barry, for you to attend.
Yeah, no, that is a lot.
But in all
That's-
seriousness, if you do need, me or any of us, just let us know.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely will spread some of that out.
Thanks, Connie.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're good. No questions, right?
No.
Accepted as information from Councillor Gordon. Yep. All in favor? Righty. Yeah. 10.2, I just wanna throw this out there, is 10.2, the proposed natural area. Are we having people speak to that, or is that strictly gonna be for us, or is that, you guys, right? Did you guys wanna speak to that? Like if we get, I'm thinking of moving that up in the agenda so you guys can speak to it, so then we can go through our agenda a little bit. Cause you're gonna be here for another 40 minutes with us babbling, or we can get you up here. You know what I mean?
We'd be happy to volunteer.
Yeah, We should have used you as a delegation, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna just jump you up here. So come on up. We're gonna do 10-2 because then I want to go into bylaw and I want to make sure that we have a healthy debate on that. And I don't want to run through that. So we're just gonna jump to 10.2 here. So anybody who wants to hop ahead in your agenda real quick. We don't need, we want to hit all the high points, I think. Okay, following you guys?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so if you guys want to have a seat right there anywhere to talk.
Okay if I stand here?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure.
It's still weird having my back.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Thank you.
So I'll have Rod, you can do a quick intro and then I'll hand it to them if that's what you want to do. If not, I'll just say, hey, go.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, I will invite Western Sky to introduce themselves and their organization and proposal, and if council would like further information that's contained in the report, I can expand on that at council's direction.
Excellent. You're up.
Okay, thank you.
Intro, and then you can go.
Perfect. Thank you. So ladies first, Mary Jane Block is our Director of Conservation. Comes from Earls. This is Chris Manderson. He's a biologist and a park planner, senior park planner. He's under as a specialist for us. And this is our chairman of the board, Jeff Curran, who comes from Calgary. And this is a member of our board, Bruce Kendall, and he comes from the Gulf River area. So, thank you for the opportunity to present. We're excited to be here, Mr. Mayor and Council.
And your name is?
Sorry, my name is Max Fritz. Max Fritz, Executive Director. I'm the Southeast for Calgary on the farm.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, who is this guy? So I took the personal note. The three of us have spent a tremendous amount of time over in the natural area over the last year. And the more time we spend there, the more appreciation we have for just the natural capital and habitat and the interaction with the public. And so we've had lots of informal discussions with citizens that are walking through the park. They're proud of the town when they talk to us about that. They want to see those special places protected and exist well into the future. They just care. And so they've been sharing those comments to us. There should be a PowerPoint. Is there a PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes. There it is. Next slide, please. So what I wanted to show here is this is the portion of the Diamond Valley lands. This is what we call the North-South Main Trail. So I just wanted to give you some orientation as we go through the PowerPoint. Tonight, I'd like to talk a little bit about Western Sky, how we identified this opportunity, embracing growth, vital landscapes, and benefits to the community. And for the next 10 minutes, I'd like just to walk us through that. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Western Sky Land Trust. We're a not-for-profit organization. We focus mainly in southern Alberta. We have the volunteer board of directors, 2 staff, and 7 specialists. We're based in Calgary, and we have 6 projects in the Foothills County along the Bull River, Highwood River, Sheep River, and Three Point Creek. This is an example of some of the work that we're doing in the Rosebud River Valley area, working with 5 landowners. We've conserved 7,500 acres. And it's just a true testament between how we work with landowners in the community, including together conservation works. Next slide, please. This is an interesting story, and it shows our diversity as an organization. This is the Alakiers Cabin. It's located on the Highwood River, west of Longview. And this is a piece of land that's donated to us. And so we have a conservation easement on it, so the lands would be protected forever. And also this cabin was donated to us. So we were actually in a restoration program with Alberta Heritage and restoring this cabin. This cabin was built in 1902. So we're not only working on conserving lands, but we're also conserving Alberta's heritage. Another example, next slide, please, is I'd like to show you another project of ours. This is called the Nodwell Nature Preserve. It's just southeast of Calgary. It's on the Bull River. And Jack and Jackie Nodwell had this vision to donate these lands to Western Sky, keep them in their natural state and allow for public access. So just another example of some diversity and scope of the organization. Next slide, please. This is a picture from your land looking across the water crossing, and you can see the right of way that the citizens have been using informally over the years. We call that the east-west trail, and it actually links to the previous slide that I showed you, the north-south trail. So that's kind of been the walking path of residents over the years. And so a little background. In 2019, we were approached about a development of a natural area park. We considered options in the Calgary area, surrounding area, assets we owned, and assets that might be available in the market. What impressed us about Diamond Valley was this. There's a natural area already nested in a thriving community. We wanted a place to be meaningful for the public. We wanted to be home to wildlife and have a really unique story. The town was also demonstrating developing a suite of recreational assets for residents and tourists wanting to visit the area. Example, State Park that you were previously talking about. There's a lot of great recreational assets close to the park. And there was an opportunity to expand a proven working relationship with the town so that our two organizations can work well into the future. So that's how we came to talk more about the idea with Rod and the crew about this natural area park. Next slide, please. This is a great example of the natural park area and how it's embedded into your community already. This is looking south from the pump track across the natural area lands, and you can see the community adjacent. There's estimated new levels of growth for the town. We had to look at your joint growth strategy and the numbers of new housing units and acres that would be required in the next 60 years for planning is significant. This park and other green spaces that are being offered will be vital to ensuring that your community has a vibrant and open spaces to enjoy on a year-round basis. Next slide, please. The entire park should be considered a vital landscape. It takes on so many important roles. Parts of our land certified by the Federal Minister of Environment and Climate Change as ecologically sensitive. The conservation and protection of those lands is the preservation of Canada's environmental heritage. These lands also provide ecological significance and importance from a watershed perspective, providing a healthy riparian area, a buffer along the Sheep River, while also providing protection from flooding and drought, particularly because of the urban context. Intact, this land is intact and it's rare. Property is mostly in a natural state with grasslands, forests, shrubs, wetlands, and the river. And keeping it managed as such will be a real treasure for the town well into the future. Wildlife. Property provides habitat for several species of wildlife. You beat me to it. I have moose, deer, waterfowl, but we're adding beaver to the wildlife species, and lots of songbirds and migratory birds. We have observed teachers taking students over there to listen for songbirds. We watched photography classes going over, so it's a well-used area for education. The ponds or the wetlands provide a range of ecological services for the town and have significant educational amenity values as a feature in the public park. And critical habitat. You may or may not know this, but there's historical records for several sensitive species. This reach of the Sheep River has been identified as potential habitat for bull trout and cutthroat trout. And technical information needs to be continually renewed by us, measured and updated on a regular basis as part of the ongoing stewardship of the land. Next slide, please. So community benefit. This is a picture of a series of wetland ponds that I was just describing that have terraces throughout the park. So the park vision, while safeguarding the ecological functions is a key priority of the lands, is ideally suited to expand its service to the community as a natural area hub in an urban context and link the walking paths and the natural areas of Diamond Valley. The entire natural area is immediately adjacent to other well-maintained community recreational and educational offerings, which I mentioned earlier. Accessibility is wonderful and well planned through a network of existing roads, safe and secure parking, and expanded amenities at the community center. The 30+ acres natural park will elevate and expand its ability to offer much needed relaxation space, along with an area for interpretive education, health and wellness building for the community through a network of trails and key open spaces, not to mention the series of wetland ponds that are significant in their ability to tell stories and experiences. This will be a meaningful place for you to visit. Public-facing engagement opportunities are important. We recognize for the best practices in creating sustainable park user habits by activating entrances, wayfinding orientation, codes of conduct, and interpretive experiences. Nature-based experiences are a wonderful platform to create meaningful content for a variety of audiences, formally and informally. Education is currently underway. An expanded offering to more youth, local residents, and other institutions can occur. The opportunity to work with community groups also is of importance to us, such as the Friends of Sheep River Park, and connecting with other citizens that have expressed an interest in safeguarding the area as well. Relaxing. This park is nestled in the center of your community, as you know. Where water goes is where people go. In an ever-increasing busy world, these natural areas become a needed place to escape, relax, and connect with nature. I mentioned this earlier, but I'd like to mention again, trusted relationships. It's been a pleasure working with Rod and others in the town. Both organizations have aspired to offering great spaces. When we partner together, we can create winning conditions for greater value for the overall community. And in perpetuity, we have this commitment with our equal gifts. That means that we have to keep those lands in their current state forever that way. I think bundling that with some of the Diamond Valley lands in the overall natural area park allows us to have a long-term sustainable plan for generations to come. Now, the last slide is sort of next steps. And we had provided a map of the entire natural area park. It's a combination of Western Sky lands and Diamond Valley lands. So next steps. Our lawyers are just finalizing the final donation agreement from the donor. We're very confident that it will be in order in short notice. We've drafted a park operations agreement that sort of builds off the park service agreement that we've already signed with the town in 2020. We know that there's a 2023 Summer Games coming. It's coming fast, obviously, and we're prepared to be a part of that and support within reason whatever we can do to ensure that that's a success for the town. We do need to get going with biophysical inventories in the entire park area because there's seasonal times that you can do it, starting here in June. So we want those inventories allow us to start thinking about how to plan the park, where things can go and shouldn't go. Land management plans developed, drafted by Western Sky would be in consultation with the town. Co-management and monitoring of the spaces. Community engagement will be important over the summer and the fall to make sure we hear from residents, get input about how that works. Park conceptualization and design will start to take place later in the fall, early winter. And ideally, we feel confident that the grand opening would occur late August, early September of 2024. So next slide. In closing, we would just like to say thank you, and we'll truly believe a significant new opportunities unfolding for both parties to work together to create an area that will be a benefit for generations to come. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's awesome. Yeah, right there.
And these guys are shy. That's why they're not.
Oh, I can tell. Sorry, I'm in the corner like a 12-step meeting there.
I told them I was going to throw a shot.
I gotta tell you, you've, I got you good. You're what we call a low-hanging fruit. Absolutely bang on presentation. It is exactly what Diamond Valley is striving for in terms of we want to have engaged green spaces. We want connectivity. We want to have youth have access to those for long-term to come. So with that being said, I'm going to go down the road here to Deputy Mayor, then to Councillor Holiday.
Yeah, big thanks. I live a stone's throw from this entire area in Riverwood. We bought in there primarily for the schools, but also for the environment that surrounds the schools. My daughter is in grade 1 at the school. She was there last week planting some trees down in that area. They're down there all the time with their class. It's fantastic. One other comment and then a question for you. I had no idea who Gordon Gray was. And then I looked him up online, found his obituary. What an interesting life he led. So what a great way to commemorate his life. So I'm in total support of that. The one big question that I have, because you spoke briefly about how the area will remain untouched. With the track being in that area, how does that impact the naturalness that you want to maintain?
Yeah, it's a good question. I didn't mean to be so literal of that. On both sides of the right of way are the eco guest lands. So those are lands that need to sort of stay in their current state for a much of time. But the right of way for passive recreation activity, which is walking, and for the 2023 games, the motorbike. No, I'm a mountain biker. Mountain bike track that has been, we've checked that with Eco Guest Canada. No issues at all for that right of way to continue to do the traditional activity.
Okay, so just one more follow up.
Sure.
Because so great that it's all good for the games, but we have a 5-year agreement with the golf course. We're okay to keep that. If that becomes a permanent structure in that area, is that okay? Mountain bike track?
I don't see any concerns. I think we just have to work closely with Rob, the town planner. And do you guys see any concerns with that?
The ecological gift is administered by Environment Canada, and we did talk to them in the fall about sort of what we were planning on the site. We made them aware up front that there was an mountain track on that right of way. They did write back, so it's existing disturbance. As long as we keep that activity on those trails, we don't want mountain bike course, trails through the entire site.
Yeah,
but passing through should not be a problem. Okay. We're approaching it from that perspective as we put the plan together.
Awesome. You've already asked some questions. Yeah, great on that. No, I'm in full support. It's fantastic. Thank you for everything.
Councillor Holiday, then Councillor.
Yeah, I just wanted some clarification and discuss the naming a little bit. I get you have a donor and you have land and it does need to match up, but the motion is for the Diamond Valley land also to be named. The whole thing to be named as Gray Park. And I guess my concern with it is that our goal as a council is very much to be able to get all of, to connect all of the land along the River Valley, both north and south side, as much as we can over years and generations when that happens, but when places get subdivided and environmental reserves given, but then we'll end up with the piecemeal of, this part's named this piece and that part's named this piece, and I'm thinking like Fish Creek Park in Calgary, it's, you might have little name stuff here, but it's got a big name everywhere, and I just wanted to bring it up, so, when we're talking about it, our as council. Is Green Park, or could it just be the western land? And what is our vision for that whole area, and what would we call it? And as pieces come through, I love the idea of it. I live on the river too, but I just see our vision is much bigger. This is a very important part, but we do have hoping for the future for the whole thing. To be connected, I think, and then it'll take lots of work to do that, all the different languages, but eventually that is the goal, and so it will need to have some sort of continuity throughout, and maybe it's not a big deal, but it's through. And it's more of a question for Rod, we probably.
I couldn't respond a little.
Yeah,
bit.
sure.
Helpful. So that area, as if you look at this, the three sort of significant tenants in there of the Diamond Valley, Western Sky, and also the golf course. So we're aware of that. We've never left out the idea of, like, it's not meant to be a park where you stop at this gate and you got to turn around. It's always meant to be, there's a flow of traffic that's always going to be evolving. So we've always thought about what are the expandability options for Gray Park. So this is what we're presenting today. But there's also an adjacent rural, smaller portion of land just to the west of us that could be considered the park, and Maybe as you're trying to say about connectivity and continuity, maybe another partner at the table, talking with other landowners may be a benefit versus, because I think the intent is always to try to keep it connected with good continuity. So I think those options were always on the table to expand these sports and in that area.
Another thing I can add, I spent a bit of time doing park planning in the city of Calgary. I can think of Beaumont Park, if you know that, for example, has a parking named after the Hodges inside that park, which is a very odd situation. So it's a park surrounded by a park. I worked on the design of that overall park, and one of the things we were talented with that same question is, you know, it's great that we've got these two different Indian parks, but what's the experience of the user? And I think maybe one way to approach this is to think of that broad connecting system that you want along Sheep River. Think about other ways that you can connect the systems through trails, wayfinding, all of those elements that you can put into a park that people are going to interact with every day. One of the reasons why we were talking to Rod about incorporating some into this is we want to tell some stories. We want to bring people into nature. You know, we're looking at things like boardwalks, viewing platforms, a number of assets are in the park. Because of the restrictions we have on the Western Sky property, we really can't do anything. And so we explore the idea of saying, well, if we look at both sides of the Beaver Pond, for example, and said, well, there's some opportunity for things like boardwalks, for ways to introduce people to the park there. We have a little more flexibility if we think of it as a contiguous system. So that was the genesis of saying, why not look at both the Western Sky property and I think also that just underscores our interest in working with the town to manage this.
Councilor Gordon.
Yeah, a couple of questions. So first and foremost, excellent presentation. Thank you for the interest in, I love nature. I love getting out as much as I can. I do have a question that I do want to bring the public's attention to. There's no resources coming from the town side. So you have a comment here that Western Sky will fund the capital improvements for council's sake, but also for the community at large state. What manner is that funding provided?
So that funding for the sort of called the building of the park, capital improvements, that comes through the donation.
Through the donation from the landowner or from the estate. Very cool.
And to add to that, if it was a benefit later, we could provide, once we understand the scope of the work and the architectural layout, we'd be happy to provide the budget.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And then a last question for administration as you put this together. I'm looking at the motions and just a point of clarity. Twice the certificates of title, the first two have the same identical number, 161260885. So are we duplicating that on purpose or did we miss a number somewhere there?
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, Mr. Mayor, that's a good question. I copied them directly from the certificates of title. This might have been an error. I was just copying and pasting, and maybe I copied maybe I didn't.
They have a -1 and a -2, so.
There's separate parcels. The Dan's property is 3 separate parcels. So it's about
Yeah. So I typically list the legal description, but these titles are, they're a paragraph long describing, the eastern boundary of the west branch of the Sheep River. And I just, for sake of clarity, I just want the certificate of title number as the descriptor, but I might have just made it clear.
How we can amend the motion is amend accordingly.
Okay, I'll give you the first motion if you want.
I just want to.
One more clarifying.
Oh, okay.
So how I'm understanding the reason the whole pertaining of the whole area, including the Diamond Valley portion, is because the capital improvements that you're planning for the area, the boardwalk and such, or whatever, you can't do that on the western side. You can only do that on the Diamond Valley portion.
Right.
Is that correct?
If there is a boardwalk, first of all. Secondly, the interpretive experiences we have more flexibility to do interpretive experiences on the Valley land and off of the right of way through the western sky. Experiences. And plus the Diamond Valley lands on the east side have amazing access and interface with the wetlands. So we believe the experience is stronger on that side as well.
Yeah, I don't want to be insensitive, I'm just, yeah, because this is somebody that the community doesn't have connection to. It's not somebody who lived here, or, you know, or built businesses here, that sort of thing. So, but I understand if there's capital investment, it's a trade-off that we have to, yeah, decide on. So.
Can I also just, to add increased, I think, greater value to the discussion? There's not just the capital improvements. We're bringing all of these sort of biophysical and environmental knowledge and metrics that need to be sort of upkept, and those come at a cost, for that be annually, every 5 years, every 10 years. And also part of this is to have stewardship dollars to ensure that we can monitor and keep an eye on the habitat, work with the beavers and all those sorts of things. And that's all part of this package. We want the town, we would like the town to be sort of the eyes and ears of it, do general maintenance of the trails and that, but the actual habitat and the actual ecological capital, those costs and that knowledge is born in partnership with us.
Big motion, Dennis?
No, I
No,
want
okay.
to comment. I love this and I am in favor of it all being called Gray Park. And that I look forward to the concept plan when it's ready. And the protection of the beavers or the management of the beavers, you better get on it because there isn't gonna be any trees left.
Assassination attempt here, maybe? Is that what I'm hearing?
I go down there a lot and every time I go down, there's another big tree down.
We agree. So that's part of,
And they're pretty wasteful.
that's the beauty of having the resort, potentially the resources here to build a land management plan and wildlife
Yeah.
protection plan. Yeah. Because right now, we are all limited in resources, right? And so the beavers are busy. And they're very busy. We agree.
Thank you. Councilors, 3 potential, well, there's 4. There's option 1, option 2,
They're not
3.
No, it's
1, 3, they need 3 residents.
Oh,
You're asking for.
So
all
three more ones.
what can we do?
well, it says proposed resolution options. You talking all 3 or? we
Yeah, as
talking
long as
all
we're
one?
okay with them.
Yeah.
That's.
They all have to be separate.
All right,
It's 3 separate motions.
very well.
It's written.
No, Veronica wanted me to just wait for.
Is there any chance before we put these motions on the table, because these 2 titles are duplicated? Is there any chance of getting the correct title numbers before the motions go forward?
Yes, Roger, my desk can come back with those correct title numbers. Just give me 5 minutes.
Okay,
Thanks, Rod.
great.
Okay. You can have it off.
We could kind of say
Well,
to amend as required. Is it technically the correct one?
we could.
I don't, I mean,
We can do 2 and 3 before you start giving. We're still in Veronica. So.
Oh, we're gonna do this as well, yeah. Yeah, so, we can just, table and come back to it, because I really want to stick to our time, because, this to me is a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's always through.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3 will go.
yeah, so Veronica's coming, so we're just, he could be, we don't know, so we're just gonna,
As amended.
while we're waiting for him, and we're gonna move on to, the
Thank you very
mayoral
much.
proclamation.
That's awesome.
We can jump around this agenda all day, right? Well, great, guys. As soon as he gets those numbers, we're gonna make some motions here. I think full support up here, going ahead. really appreciate you guys coming tonight and great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
And,
Thank you, guys.
You'll hear from Ron. It'll be all good.
Really
Okay.
wonderful.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks for sticking around tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so 10.2 table until Rod brings us the numbers.
We gotta go back.
We're going back up to 9.1 to get to the bylaw. 9.1, out of my paper. Okay. Bylaw 2023-19 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06 by redistricting 4154A Street Northside from direct control to central business district. We have had a statutory here earlier. I'm sure you all made notes on your thoughts, so we don't need a presentation from council or from administration. We know what we're talking about here at this point. It should be fresh in your mind. So to continue down the road of central business district, or do we want to keep it direct control? That essentially is the question. Council.
Well, I think we should just move to the readings and then that'll tell the story.
Exactly.
Hold on, hold back here.
Top of page 38.
Got Rod's back.
You got numbers for us?
I got a number.
All right, we'll get it after. Let's go on with this one.
Yeah.
Right. We're not gonna wait till we're done. Okay, so we have the council give bylaw 2023-19 second reading. That is what is in front of me. So are you wanting to give that motion?
We gotta make the motion to discuss.
I can give you that
Okay,
motion. The
thank
council will give bylaw 2023-19 second reading.
Okay, excellent.
Comments or?
Comments? Now's the time. So, Councilor Gordon.
Yeah, my initial comment, when I asked him that question about the importance of a DC or central business, he was kind of non-committal. And based on what I've heard from the community, knowing, having read the 3 articles in the MGA about direct control, I'm actually against giving this a second reading, and I would love to keep it as direct control.
Okay. You. We're gonna go Cindy, then Deputy, then Heather. Then Veronica, and me.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings on this because at one hand, I appreciate that you have a business owner wanting to invest in the community. On the other hand, it seems really silly to be putting something where we know it's gonna flood. And cause problems with all that cement. And be built up in a weird manner. And I don't know why somebody didn't just go through with like a parkade bottom and residential on top type design and keep most of it grass. I don't know why the town, I don't know your history, why the town didn't buy it when it was for sale and integrate it back in the park. Like, what, was there, were you on council at the time when it was up for sale or when you bought the piece along the?
He bought it in 2022, I think he said.
Yeah.
I was on council since 2017.
But it never came up as a closed session. There's so much just for selling. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, cause, commercial's great, residential's great, I love that, but there's just so many, like, the idea, one resident of, a big berm and a fence on top, with parking and headlights going into his house, that's like, residential building with integrated parking in there, to me, made more sense. I think there's too many things going on that it probably does, and too contentious of a file, so talking to the actual motion, I guess keeping it direct control. To me, it makes sense to have a central business and the fact that when things get changed, different businesses come in, it makes it easier. But initially, before it gets built, it's too contentious, so I'm happy with keeping it direct control, just because of the, yeah, just keeping it under ours, because if someone's gonna take a hit, it should be us, not our residents at large on our planning commission. So, yeah, that's
Awesome.
like, I have a lot going through.
I kept mine brief.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Deputy Mayor.
Whoa, geez, okay, I'll keep it brief too. Yeah, yeah, no, I know for sure, and I will be brief. I echo a lot of the same sentiments about the overland flooding, the flood. And, you know, I really appreciate hearing from the residents directly tonight. I didn't hear anyone say that they were opposed to the development. And so in keeping that in mind, I do support the development, but I would like to keep it in direct control. That's that, I mean.
I agree. I'd like to see it stay in direct control. As through my questions, I have real issues with the stormwater management and flooding and, so, yeah, I'd like to, I don't support, the commercial side. Direct control is the way I'd like to see it.
I don't know why it wasn't purchased as, you know, flood mitigation and stormwater management property or part and or both. Good time. But I think it should be. What's fair market value for this piece of property? To find out. I'm gonna make that motion. Where's our swap? I'm making that motion. You got read this second.
Well,
That's not bad.
that's what I'm idea,
Yeah.
would be something we talk about.
Yeah.
But as far as direct control versus
Oh, you
commercial,
did.
all right. I too, am in favor of direct control at this point, and some of the things that I heard tonight, to be brief. I like the idea of the commercial, but then we have the ability to mitigate light pollution by businesses close at X date. That's a direct control. That's simple. Stormwater has to be addressed. The idea of gating the road to stop the thoroughfare, I actually think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Because 30 kilometers isn't being upheld, and that's obvious. The business being closed at an appropriate hour also reduces some of the ambient noise. The parking situation, that could be even flipped a bit to reduce some of that light pollution directly into residents. So I think there's a lot of conversation yet to be had. I do like the fact that we have a developer who's invested in the town who says, hey, you guys are the bottom, do it, whatever you want to make this work. And the residents understand that that is part and parcel of it, but they need our support. And I think that's what our job in this is. So I'll take a motion.
Well, we have.
Motion is done. There you go. All in favor? All opposed? Motion is defeated. Okay,
Veronica's motion.
Veronica, you'd like,
Well, yeah,
I actually think this is good.
pursue, have administration
Investigate.
investigate option to purchase or land swap the parcel at 4154 8th Street Northwest.
Any discussion?
I just want to support that. We just had a big conversation about the river area. We have another letter from a resident saying, what are you doing? The river, we have a nice parking lot in there. And a park on the other side. This is kind of a continuous piece in there. I do like the idea of supporting a local business owner, but I think we have other options elsewhere that don't have the sensitivity that this does. So I just want to say I fully support them.
Worth exploring. I agree. All in favor? That's Gary.
I'd like to make a motion as well, because
Indeed.
could I direct administration to look into the potential of having that road turned into a cul-de-sac in the event of that?
Or something that would be done. Well, what I'm saying is if we were to go ahead with something, then we could explore that.
Okay,
In the meantime, what we can do is put bylaw in there and say, blank yourself.
yeah, fair enough. Okay, okay, yeah,
But if we were to move ahead, then we would definitely look into that.
okay.
Yeah.
Move ahead with our capital projects for next year, is that what you're saying? Because that is the only section of First Avenue that's paved. Rest of it, they take it at 50, 60 as well, and it's not paved. And huge potholes. So I don't know what to do, like something big has to be done.
So that falls.
We can table that one.
Well, again, that falls into a pedestrian
That would
safety
be
task
basically-
force that we wanted to start up again, to start looking at the community as a whole.
Yeah.
So why don't we drop that onto our cal,
Perfect.
get that conversation started and kickstart pedestrian safety.
And
Yes.
Right?
Withdraw.
Okay,
I withdraw.
yeah,
If
yeah,
that's necessary.
and pedestrian safety, that's where we put it, and we take it to cal
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and good conversation.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Rodzo, numbers for us. For the motions, coming for land trust. Now I'm gonna flip forward again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here, guys. Okay, so we're back.
Okay.
10.2.
Can I get?
Yes, and
Can I give you the first one?
Yep, go ahead.
As
And
long,
then just,
and I'll have Rod correct me.
Yeah.
Okay. That council approve establishment of the Natural Area Park comprised of lands owned by the Western Sky Land Trust that are legally described in the certificates of title 161260885 and 161260885
5+1.
+1, like a dash or
With a
That's
oh,
not.
the plus, okay, +1.
I think it's right.
nice. That was easy.
And land owned by the town of Diamond Valley, legally described in certificate of title 89110491.
All in favor? Excellent.
I can give you the next one.
Excellent.
That council name the natural area park that consists of lands that are legally described in certificates of title 161260885, 16126808885 +1, and 89110491 as Grays Park. And I'd like to thank the estate for investing in our community. That's pretty remarkable.
Come. All in favor? Excellent, that's carried. Well, number 3.
And council direct administration to enter into an agreement with the Western Sky Land Trust that will address how the parties will collaborate in the planning, construction, maintenance, and operation of a natural area park as described in this request for decision.
All in favor? Excellent, that's carried. And that's it.
Okay,
Okay, now, so let me just check some boxes here. We're going to 9.2 council remuneration policy now. Yeah, you guys are done, right?
Yeah.
What else for you?
Hi.
And Nick? I believe you're done.
Or just,
there's no use to staying till 11 o'clock.
No,
Like, no, this is good.
you're good. You can head her too.
Of the seniors team, but we'll let you know. That's okay.
That's all straight up
Yeah,
stuff.
that is-
Okay, so we're doing the new revenue.
when we
Yep,
get to the seniors team, just gotta make sure that the mayor has the right pinky form.
that's right. That's right. I'm trying to find myself here now. Okay, 9.2, council remuneration policy, 013, education expense reimbursement. So Ernest prepared this one for us from our previous meeting way back in February, when we talked about remuneration. We talked about our committee being formed. Vernon, do you want to lead this one off and just give us the quick Coles notes?
So I combined 3 of your policies into one, hopefully to make it simpler. That was the goal anyway. They're fairly short and sweet. They've been, the remuneration policy had been pre-aligned, so that's been brought in. The council education policy did not exist in Black Diamond previously, so this is essentially Turner Valley's old policy with a couple of amendments as we discussed at the committee of the whole. And the expense reimbursement was basically, they're pretty much the same anywhere. We made sure it was the same as the employees handbook so that we can all use the same forms and it's simple for admin to manage as well.
One point of clarity, we follow the federal guideline when it comes to mileage and so on.
So do employees.
Outlined and to address, it's lost on me. Education. We had a email from a resident asking about education policy around mayor's approvals of, so if deputy mayor wanted to do a course, he would sign that up and I would authorize it. Traditionally, that's what it says on paper. Turner Valley, previously what we did is it was a full council email. Just so everyone was in the know, and then the mayor kind of said yes. For the mayor to do a course, same thing applied. A council email was out saying, I would like to attend X, and council would say yeah. So more of a informal way of just uniting ourselves as a team to say, you know, okay, we're supporting each other through education. And if there was a course that was really lame, let's just say, then it was an opportunity for some counselors who had already taken that course to say, hey, you don't want to waste your money on that one. You might want to hold off and maybe go to this one or that one. So that's all I have to say about that. Other than that, I think great work. Heather, I saw you stick up there.
Yeah, no, I only have to comment on one thing. We all received a email from Ms. Dickel, and I went back and looked at the video, and we all did agree to go back on the mayor's honorarium to the December amount.
Yep.
And the December amount is $16.93.
Yep.
So I'd like that changed because we did all agree that we went back to the December amount, and unfortunately, this number was incorrect. So I'd like that amended back to the December amount of $16.93.
Good. Yeah, go ahead.
And also, I think if we go back to section 9, regarding the submission of requests, it states in 9.2, the mayor will review the request and the council's education allotment. There's not a reverse as to who reviews the mayor's request.
That's right.
So I wonder if we need to just add a brief comment there that mayor's request will be reviewed by the deputy mayor.
Yeah.
And the deputy mayor will then approve that. Because your deputy mayor is approving expenses and per diem of the mayor right now. So
That's a
it
great-
just needs that flip.
Let's add that because again, like I said, informally, we just include all the council.
Yeah. Right. But it still needs
Let's put it
approval
on paper.
because 9.2 has the approval of the mayor and us, whereas the deputy mayor would want to be the approval for the mayor. That's my advice.
I'm gonna go for honor.
Sure.
No, I totally agree.
You get that one?
You bet.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ron.
Parallel question, how full is our remuneration policy committee?
I believe
Are they
we have 3 applicants. I just haven't had a chance to sit down with the CAO and get those folks officially appointed because I think 3 is our minimum.
Has it been well? Has it been well advertised? Because people have asked me and I said, apply.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor and Cindy.
I was just gonna say, for the sake of saying, is that Mayor Crane and I had already exercised that, and in my past role, I did the same thing with Councilor Glover. Like, I didn't just approve anything on my own without.
You never know.
It's just, no, I trust you guys. It's just.
No, let's put it on paper,
Yeah,
but I just,
exactly.
just for the public's,
Yep.
like those
Yeah.
watching, I just wanted to make it clear that there wasn't anything prior to this going on, yeah.
So Heather made the motion and she is adding Councillor Gordon's comment as an amendment. Okay, so there's 2 coming from Heather. Because we have to vote once and then it's done, so you're taking
So,
Councillor Gordon's amendment.
I'll give you the motion. I just wanna, because I think that we can do it just by amending.
9.2.
So it's 9.2
Please.
to include deputy mayor.
The mayor's salary was $16.93.
And schedule
And it says.
Schedule A,
Be in the newspaper.
change the monthly honorarium for the mayor back to $16.93. Sorry, I just,
Hey,
you know,
oh, good.
it was wrong.
Are we ready to move? Cindy, one comment and I'm moving. We're getting it by 9. Come on.
Jackie brought this up and I 100% agreed, and I think I argued at Cal, but I'm gonna do my last time one, is the per diem eligibility for dealing with residents' concerns. I don't like, it was in Black Diamonds, not in Turner Valleys. We went with Black Diamonds on it and added it, but I don't like it because, yes, I trust you guys. But you have to write it for a future council, and this has the ability to be abused. We pay you more because resident concerns, really, we just said, I sent them on you, right? We get emails, we expect you to do it, that's why you get the extra money. So I'm really, really strongly suggesting without it.
Feeling was the corresponding.
So somebody phones you up and you talk to them for an hour, and then you per diem it, that's really what somebody could do. But that's our job.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor has a different take on it.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but yeah, just for, so if I understand correctly, your pay would include, like, you could effectively field 8 calls and be busy for 8 hours and not, you can't make any more money out of that, like, there's no per diem for that? That's what you'd like to see?
No, because he could be chatting about who knows what for how long. Like, how do you judge that? How do you, versus everything else, we have council motions to support that we've requested the mayor go do this, you know, to go to a conference or represent us in some way, but this could get wrapped up by somebody
This could.
that was not honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
And really, if somebody calls the mayor, it's being forwarded on to administration within 5 minutes and the rest is all just BSing and not BSing, but being, you know, politically friendly
Yep.
to get people to vote for you. That's the reality of being an elected official, right? So, yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
Let's play.
No, I don't think.
But let's go to Heather. I get your point and I think you're totally correct.
I agree to the extent that I would pass it on to yourself, or I would ask an individual to move it to administration, which is where it belongs, because we don't always have all the information, and I don't like the idea of misinformation or us getting into trouble because we've given misinformation. I'd rather pass it along to Barry or to administration. And we do have policy around this, you know, like who's going to speak on behalf of. So I agree. I would like to see that removed as well.
That's your thing.
But, and it can always be brought to a council meeting to stay.
I suppose
We kill the whole motion if we go
Yeah.
against that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be a separate. I can add that as a secondary motion that we can vote on.
If you go that way, it also needs to be removed from the appendix as well.
Yeah.
So let's deal with Heather's and then we'll deal with yours.
All right, because really, if you have anybody that is an organization or club that is taking up an excessive amount of time, you come to the council meeting and say, I'd like to keep meeting with these people. Can you make me a motion to officially go in a capacity to talk to them and be able to charge per diem for it? Like, we have the ability to do that.
Yeah, I've got lots coming, but I want to. Yeah. Okay, Heather.
So my motion will be to direct to,
You've already got it written.
not quite, yeah, I don't
You've already got it written.
approve I'd like to approve the policy with the amendments of 9.2. The deputy mayor to review the mayor's education requests, and to change Schedule A, the mayor's monthly honorarium to $16.93 as of December the 22nd, which is what it was supposed to be.
So because you're asking us to approve policy with those amendments, you'd have to include Cindy's amendment then too. To remove Article F,
That could be an extra motion.
not if we've approved it.
No, I'll just put a secondary motion.
Okay,
Add the motion and we vote on my first.
okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so
Then we can get this done and over with, and it doesn't have to come back to us, and I'm sure Verna can.
okay, thank you. Vernon.
Just get a moment's clarity on that motion. Is that a retroactive?
Yeah, that's my question. No, exactly.
Effective.
That's what I heard. I heard it, Councilor Thompson.
Oh, no, what I meant was,
That's why I was laughing.
we agreed that with the mayor's honorarium would be the same as it was December 2022, which was $16.93, not $17.93.
Okay, so if you're okay, I'll just have the motion amend
Yeah.
the amount, period, no dates. Okay. Just for, so no one else is confused.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry about that, Verna.
that's okay.
I just want it straight because there
Yeah,
was.
we're good. Okay, all in favor?
No, we need a secondary.
I'm
don't
gonna
we?
make a second.
No.
Yes, it has to be part.
And then we gotta do hers first, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, you're right. You're in
Sorry, good.
Okay.
We're good, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
To
know.
remove 6.1 F and the associated appendix. Where it is in the appendix as well.
It doesn't.
Have numbers, so I can't refer to it.
No.
And
It's a second from bottom in the
The
first
related
column.
item in appendix B.
yeah, and then, yeah.
Okay, we got that. Any further debate on that one?
I just wanted to say, can I comment very quickly?
Yeah, you bet.
The removal of that could potentially lead future mayors to not want to interact. It's like, oh, yeah, just contact administration. I appreciate the comments and the, like, talking to residents, and if it costs me $50 to call you, or if it costs $50 for anyone to call you to have a conversation that's meaningful to them, I have no problem paying for that. So that's all I want to say.
I'll just say, I agree. I've had lengthy conversations that took me away from many, many things where I was supposed to be reading.
Yeah.
But I digress. I know how I'm voting. All in favor?
The amendment.
And all opposed? It's defeated. Okay. Heather's motion? All in favor? Cool. And that's carried. Thank you. I will point out this. We're 6 months in, 5 months in. I've only ever charged $50
And you've been.
for that, because I think the code of conduct that we have trumps an abuse. And it would be very clear very quickly if a counselor was abusing that.
Yeah.
As we send that timesheet to each and every one of us, it would be questioned real quick if you were slapping $400 on there because you're
Phone calls.
talking to a resident, right? So, yeah, and that's why I have no problem with that for now. Okay, next item up for business. That one's done. Termination of town of Spring Valley and Foothills County Utility Service Agreement. Can I get a motion on that?
Yes.
Councilor Gordon?
Cindy,
Oh,
no, give it in me. Cindy, yeah,
I
they're
love
done
to
scrap.
give this one.
I love to give this.
Yeah, that's all orders. Cindy.
Council approve administration's recommendation by Foothills County notification that the town Turner Valley utility servicing agreement will be terminated providing the notification.
All right. Heather's gonna speak to that real quick.
Our CAO may not be able to answer this, but I would like to ask the county if we can reduce that time frame.
Yeah,
So to address your question through the mayor, Councillor Thompson, there is probably the likelihood that we could negotiate a shorter term for this. Both Harry and Ryan are aware that we were going to terminate this agreement, so stay tuned. We will likely be meeting with them again in the future, or will be providing the notification, so maybe during that discussion, we can see what kind of arrangement he would be comfortable with. And we can bring that back to council.
Excellent.
great question. And if I can make a comment?
Yes, sir.
The reason I'm gonna support this one wholeheartedly is I love managing our utilities. And having that in-house, I think it's a great move forward.
Excellent. I agree. And I agree both, and I think administration's got a good handle on that. Seeing nothing further, all in favor? That's a great move forward for Diamond Valley right there.
Barry,
Yes,
we'd like to put the motion forward to direct administration to negotiate a shorter notification with the county of Foothills.
excellent. Thank you. All in favor?
I,
Thank you, Heather. All right, that one's done. Request for council hosting assistance to June 6th. Can I get a motion to go to a T? Ladies and gentlemen.
I'll give you that.
Do we have to name it? Let's just say one other. You're right. Absolutely.
Number one.
an additional counselor or two.
There you go.
I'll give you that motion that council agreed for the attendance of the mayor and one other council member at the seniors tea for June 6th
Excellent. At 2 p.m.
at 2 p.m.
That's D-Day.
Oh, it is.
If I may just have, well,
Go ahead.
thank you. Well, we would appreciate the extra help. It's always nice to have council attend, just to meet and greet with the seniors and those that we're honoring. So by all means, we hope that you're able to attend.
Send it an invite.
That would-
It's like, send calendars, like.
Yes.
Excellent. Heather,
Where is it being held this year?
Griffith Center.
It's at the Griffiths?
Yeah, it's.
Okay, thank you.
We're
Could have known that, but.
Yep.
Forgot.
Okay. All in favor?
This is awesome.
And anyone particular, Deputy Mayor, who wants to go? Half is are going to anyway, right?
I'll be going,
Yeah, circle back.
representing FTSS as well.
It's gonna be wild.
Excellent. Mayoral proclamation. Can I get a motion to read the proclamation?
I'll give it to you. Oh, sorry, no, Sandy beat me to it.
The council proclaimed June 5th through 11th, 2023 as Seniors Week in the town of Diamond Valley.
All in favor? Yet where's my whereas statement?
It's not. The province does not actually provide a proclamation.
I used to write it.
Oh, it's that
You
right?
are so sweet,
But you
Because-
just stated.
you know, just made it.
Just stated right now.
Seniors.
Whereas seniors are amazing and foundations in neighborhoods, communities, and across this country. They are the absolute pillar of society. Through
Therefore,
sacrifice, time and effort, they have built what we get to enjoy today. Thank you, seniors everywhere.
therefore,
There-
I proclaim.
Therefore, I proclaim June 5th and 11th, Seniors Week in the town of Diamond Valley.
I wanted you to send it out, but.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it before our
Bring
term
that up a lot.
Alrighty, that was a good one. Can I get a motion to accept 13.1 and 13.2, which are minutes?
I'll give you that.
Thank you. Any concerns, questions?
No.
Things are moving on West End. We'll fill you in a bit more. We got another meeting next week. All in favor? Go. And now, as I said, I have correspondence. We already accepted the letter from B Canadian unless he sends a new one.
No, we moved these so we could discuss it, but
Oh,
we were rushing through, so it sounds like.
yeah, right?
Um,
No, let's, we got a few minutes here.
I would love to say this was a fantastic letter. And I think we've made some motions here tonight that showed, and I think when our strategic plan comes out, it will be obvious. Once again, that care of the River Valley. And now, especially as we're an amalgamated town, it is truly what connects us at Dietrich from also because of that. And someone that lives on it, my kids run down there all the time and run up, jump over the rocks and up the river. It's fantastic. And I don't know if we want to send a response to him saying, thank you.
He's actually on the call.
Oh, he's on the call.
Yeah, he's listening to you.
Thank you. So,
Yeah, he is.
yeah. So I think more to come on this. But my vision as a counselor, as I said before, is to have the whole thing connected in some way over, and I know it will take decades far beyond us on council. But if we can, at any opportunity that we have, make steps towards it, I think we'll have something that's priceless for generations after us.
Absolutely. Right.
There are his miles of barbed wire fencing and other issues. Those are some things that I think. Mine too.
Yes. Veronica.
So I spoke with the author of this letter right by the meeting conference, in fact, and he seemed pleased that we had received the letter. Totally agree with Cindy. I would like to say that it's protocol to send a response when you receive written correspondence, especially nice written correspondence. I was wondering if the administration had drafted a reply.
Through the mayor, Councillor Clover, we have not drafted a reply, but certainly if council gives us the direction to, we will certainly draft a letter to.
Or we could ask the mayor to thank.
Mayor and council draft.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's good.
We can do that.
We're double up.
Oh, that's fine.
All right.
All right.
We'll deal with that.
Alrighty, Gateway Villas letters from condos. Now, this is in terms of the condo fees. We had this delegation a long time ago. I think this is the follow-up. This is one of those things we said, we are really busy with amalgamation right now. We're gonna put this one on the burner.
Okay.
But I did have some conversation in passing with some of those members, and they asked me how it was going. I said, you might want to send us a little reminder letter,
Okay.
so that it gets on our radar. So, now it's on our radar, so it's accepted for information. Let's put it on our, little checklist, and let's see where we're gonna get that into the conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe even talk about it at, committee of the whole. If you put it into a future one, not
Yeah.
right away, but, go ahead, Cindy.
Yeah, with amalgamation and everything, we've just gotten through budget, there's no way that we can look at this and have it in time for this year's thing. And everybody, if you look at our events, there are slabs, so I think this needs to be like Q3, Q4 next, like,
Yeah.
Q1 next year even. I would like to look at, just for Brendan who doesn't know, we have condos that they're in charge of their roads, their internal roads, their internal infrastructure, so when sewers and water and roads need to be replaced, their condo pays for it, not the town, which is quite significant.
Yeah.
So I
This
don't know,
is-
it would be up to us if the town could actually quantify how much it saves us in a meaningful way, because our budget goes to so many other things, roads and snow clearing are a small portion, but just to recognize as a goodwill, and to encourage maybe future condos, I don't know. It might be worth looking at. I don't know if other places do it though. I think that would be the first
I
thing.
haven't-
Has it ever happened, any other municipality anywhere do it?
So to answer your question through the chair, we had this last year. And we went and we did some research because there are a few areas in Okotoks which I think have a similar situation. And when we talked with their administration, they do not have a separate code for this. So they are on the same property tax code as a normal residential or property similar that doesn't have these particular types of extra services. So we can go and we can revisit it later in the year to determine how we want to handle it. But in our experience, other municipalities do not have a different code for this.
Yeah, when I saw that news tax application for Bearline condos, I don't think there is such a thing. And, like when you're buying in a particular subdivision such as this, you have to take into consideration your condo fees, which are supposed to include these common spaces and your infrastructure, et cetera. So, yeah, I think in good faith, we could look at it again down the road, but for tonight, it's
Information.
yeah, information.
Very good thought.
I'm okay with that. You may, sir.
Yeah, speaking to that, they do have their HOA fees. They do pay those considerable costs already. And then property tax is almost, from their perspective, is like a double dip. Because they're responsible for those similar utilities that a regular person in a freehold wouldn't be responsible for because that HOA fee. But in my research, it's very difficult to identify that different class structure for Bearland condos. So it's very challenging. We'll have to it's really thinking outside the box. And I don't know if that's a box we want to jump outside of.
Well, my comment on it would be that, fair is fair. And I think we have to do our due diligence to meet that standard of fair. Yeah, I mean, it's simple as that for me. It's a black and white, so let's accept for information. Did you give me that, Heather?
Are we doing both?
We just gotta do one
Individually.
more. We just gotta do Foothills Energy Co-op after this for action considered investor.
Oh, your Daisy's action considered.
Then we gotta move it here. Okay, so 14.2, I'll make motion to accept for information. Okay. Thank you. And I'll talk to Crane and we'll write a response. Invitation to Little New York Days. Mayor can go.
I can go.
Mayor can go. Yeah, you know what? You can.
I'm camping there, so, well, I'm camping in the Kananaskis, so I can just go. I can do a thing at 10 o'clock. I read that.
Go ahead.
And if they want me to do. Well, if they want me to do a little, hey, how are you? I don't mind doing it.
Okay.
Cause I think the last letter spoke to. Oh, no, this is the same letter because it was received in February. Yeah, either way, we can let them know that I'm going if you guys want.
Yep.
Makes no difference.
Yep, and Henderson Candy.
Sure.
Okay, make a motion to send deputy mayor and or another designate if need be to the Little New York Days to represent Diamond Valley in the parade. All in favor? Boom, and get some candy.
Yeah, and anyone else who wants to come,
Some lots of good stuff.
yeah, anyone else wants to go.
41st annual Turner Valley Golf Classic. I mentioned this one to Corinne. Of course, Lions Club involved there, so I had a heads up. And I understand we do have some staff that are gonna attend.
Through the chair, no, no, don't.
Okay. Did you want to send some? Because that's a good morale team building time. So
If you don't.
let's go. It's up to council. We can sponsor a hole. Or we can send some golfers.
Yes, it's.
Sure, go ahead.
I know it's taken a long time to be able to put forward, some of the funding programs, the revisions on those, but one that I really like to keep is the corporate support grant. And, Turner Valley, Town of Turner Valley, put that in place specifically so that, council would actually be able to take a look at which events it may want to sponsor and or, expand whatever support it might give, such as involving staff. But it identifies clearly there the priority and the ranking of essentially who we get to attend these events. So there had to be community benefit to it, first of all. In this case, I think it's absolutely a benefit to the community because of where the dollars go and how they're spread out. But then it ranks in terms of, you know, who would attend and why would they attend. So for something like this, when it comes to a staff event, we certainly are thinking about some team building exercises, and Ms. Benton is handling that, and not everybody golfs as it was said, but primarily it's really just follow some kind of process because this will be requested for each and every charity golf event or donation request as they come forward. What we have done in the past is that council has paid its own way and attended because they want to support it. And then we've also sponsored a poll in the amount that was provided. So if that was something that you wish to do, then we can certainly take that forward.
Council?
I'm in favor of sponsoring a hole, and if anybody wants to go golfing with me that day, I'm in favor of me paying my own way and putting a team in, so
Whole sponsor it is.
Good. At what amount?
300, isn't it?
500.
500. It's
Wasn't it 500? I don't know.
I don't have the, so.
At a bunch of thousands. If you're in-
1,000
It was 200 or something the last time we did it.
Yeah, it's 1,000.
So
For bronze.
through the chair, it is 5,000 for gold, 2,500 for silver, and 1,000 for bronze. So
Inflation, baby.
Well,
It didn't used to be.
I'm sorry, but yeah, no,
It didn't used to
we
be
had
that much.
manageable costs. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is.
That seems wrong to me. But I would stick with your original.
Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. 300. It's I wish to become a sponsor of one of the golf course holes. 300.
There you go.
300 is attached.
Yep, there it is.
Berna got it for me. Yeah.
okay.
Thank you. There you go. 300.
Through the chair, we're not going to go with the
No,
sponsorship.
300 for the,
300 for the whole sponsorship,
Golf hole.
and you can send some golfers. All in favor? Good.
I was gonna make a quick point. There's another option for us to consider next year.
9 o'clock.
If we were to sponsor a hole, like the hole in one on a par three, there's actually minimal insurance policies that cover a hole in one. There's specific policies that you can purchase for next to nothing.
I like,
Because
I like.
it's usually like you're not gonna pay out.
Yeah.
So
Like
that might be something we could consider next
I
year
like
on
it
the
a lot.
part three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last two, Foothills Energy Co-op, they want us for $1,600 to sponsor the back page of the calendar. Yes or no? They did a delegation to us. There it is. There's the reminder. It's advertising for the new town logo. It's totally on us. This guy has followed up with me 6 times, so he wants an answer. Down what? Yes or no?
No.
You
No,
gotta just make the,
no. Make a motion
Yeah.
and defeat it.
put it up. Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
That we not support.
No, just positive motion and then we defeat it.
Oh, sorry.
Just say, we support it.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we support the advertising on the calendars.
All in favor? All opposed?
Good man. I was gonna do that if you didn't.
There you go. Excellent, thank you. Invitation to Wildcat Days. I don't even know what that is.
Elkford. They send it to Black Diamond every year. Oh, do they?
Okay,
Is that like?
And I would go to this as long as I can go stay with one of the counselors and I'll ask them this weekend.
Do you want me to make a motion on that?
Is this?
do it.
Is this Alfred as in BC?
Yeah.
Like down the.
Suppose-
down the-
and if I can ride in the car with him,
I can make that motion.
That we send Heather.
and it won't be any charge, I'll just go. But I won't go if.
You pick up some candy.
I love it.
Oh, that's another.
Pick up some
They're
candy.
my neighbors at the lake.
I need, yeah, we'll cover the travel.
I make a motion that we send Heather as a representative of the new
Diamond
Diamond Valley with the new logo
Yeah.
on her shirt and hat to represent Diamond Valley
Not too tight.
in Wildcat Days.
And some swag.
Yeah,
Send me with some.
okay,
Okay.
we are adjourned. Goodbye.